Hello, everyone. I'm Johnny.
And I am Teresa, and today we're going to talk about your life. This is going to be very passionate, and I recommend that you stay for the entire episode. We have Miss Mishawn Childers with us. I'm decorating her name, okay? Introduce yourself for us.
Yes, I am a married mother of four. I'm a speaker, author, and life coach. And my mission is to help people reauthor their lives to live in the fullest life possible.
We appreciate that. And you recognize you are a certified life coach.
Yes.
So if you can tell the audience what makes you certified, what makes you a life coach?
Well, what we did, we went through a program, obviously, over a number of months to get that certification, a lot of hard work and studying, but also doing real world practice, working on people, and then taking on actual clients to help them live a life of fulfillment. So it's a beautiful work. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And you also have a book, The Voice. Could you talk a
Mm.
little bit about your book?
Okay. It is about people who make decisions not listening to the voice of God, not listening to the Holy Spirit. And so everybody has free will, and it's short stories of when they don't listen. There's an example of someone who does, and then there's a workbook at the end. But it is so, I mean, fire. It really touches on things that people, don't really talk about, the power of the Holy Spirit and how to hone in on that.
Well, your tagline on the book is powerful. I'm going to read it.
Mhm.
And if you just say a couple of words, because when I'm like, how does she come up with?
Mm.
So, the tagline on your book is take part in a journey of mastery and self discover. Will you decline or accept the call? And the cover of your book, you have a cell phone.
Yes,
So,
yes, because God is always, we are always in touch and connected. But are we paying attention to the synchronicities? Are we paying attention to our gut? When God sends someone to tell us something, oftentimes we don't pay attention, and that can cause issues financially, in our relationships, just in our daily lives, just the way we feel about ourselves.
okay.
Very,
That is so good. So now
very
that she
good.
mentioned money,
Ooh,
we are here,
ooh.
everyone, to talk about
Yes,
money. And
yes.
at this very moment, we're going to discuss how your past, your childhood has affected your life and your future with your money. So, Mashawn, if you can talk to people and
Mm.
discuss some of the generational patterns that you have seen with people dealing with their money.
Mm. I grew up in a household of a bit of dysfunction. My dad drank a little bit much, and my mom, she was trying to cope the best she could. And we grew up with the mindset of lack,
Mm.
of the man is trying to hold us down. Money, of course, doesn't grow on trees. My mom would buy stuff and hide it. So I thought, well, if you have it, you say you have it, but you're hiding it. It's like you got to hide things that God blesses you with. So that was the message: charge it and hide it. And so my dad would get mad. What are you doing? And so when he passed away, my mom did not realize they had a debt to pay to the IRS for like $40,000. She
Oof.
let him do the taxes every year because he was a man's man and he was a military guy. And he's like, I got it. And she had no idea, did not keep track of anything financial. And it ruined her. And she passed away of COVID in financial ruin.
Whoa.
Hmm.
So COVID, that was
2020.
20. Yeah, that was recent.
Yeah,
She
so
passed
from COVID.
2021.
And she left in financial ruin.
Oh, totally. I didn't get 1 cent. She didn't have a cent to even get. She was fully in debt. And when she passed, all that money went to the state because she owed so much in debt.
So how did that impact your life growing up seeing that? I mean, because I'm sure
Mm.
that had some impact on you kind of seeing that and also seeing your mom go through that to get to the point where she was at COVID. How did that impact you?
Okay, let me tell you all a quick story. It's a quick story. So, growing up, of course, we saw that. And I was kind of repeating the same things, charging things, going to buy cars I couldn't really afford until I had a situation where I got in a relationship that was a bit toxic and I almost lost my life in that situation. So, if you want me to go into more detail, I can, or I can just do an overview. So, it was such a life-changing experience. And let me back up. I'll touch on it so it's not just like dropping that and then running away. So the Holy Spirit, the voice was telling me to leave this man alone that I thought was the looks, the prestige, the athleticism. the goals. And I had a dream to leave him alone. And then somebody told me, a complete stranger told me to leave him alone. And I ignored everything. And to make a long story short, I showed up to his house one day. There was another girl. I threw a shirt towards this side of the room. He was over here. He snapped, pulled out a gun, and said, "Put your hands on me again." So that clicked to me. It's time to do something different. So I was going down the same path, not the drinking so much, but the bad decisions and not listening to the voice. And so from that moment on, I started doing an inventory and I said, look where I'm at. Everybody's very unhappy. They're broke. They have broken relationships. And I'm just like, this is not what I want. So that really was a turning point, not only to get in better relationships and to move, but also redo my family tree. I didn't take seeds. From there, I gleaned what I could that was positive, but it's like I took from a whole different tree. I said, I don't fit and I'm not going to try. God help me rebuild and reauthor. Help me do something different. And so I decided to listen to God this time. And so I met the right man, been married nearly 20 years, have a beautiful family. And God led me to take out my 401k. I took out $40,000 and I flipped that and created 400,000. And not only that, we paid off 150,000 in debt.
Woo.
So that's what we were able to do.
So we got to go back. Okay, I'll let you go.
No, I'm gonna let you go because you know.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you can't just drop that part. How you took money out of your 401k.
Yes.
Can you tell us how you turned 400,000?
Sure. So I had educated myself as far as investing in real estate. And so I became a realtor. I left my insurance job because I was tired of getting cussed out about not paying somebody's claim. And I went the realtor route. And as I did research, I said, wait, there's more to this. You don't have to work and slave your whole life. Your money should be working for you. And when I started realizing money is just energy, and of course we know it just moves by, it has a lot of energy. But what I realized when I fixed me, that's when my money started increasing. When I redid and reauthored my life, that's when my money started showing and reflecting my new mindset. So you can look at money as a mindset. When your mind is right and fixed, money reflects that. So what I did, I took out my 401k on faith, being led by the voice. I invested that. And that one property turned into two and turned into a duplex. And we just kept going and kept going. And then we pulled out the money. We sold the properties. We were willing and able to invest into multifamilies. And that's what we just did, actually. So before we started investing, though, we did pay off 150 in debt, which was a priority to be debt-free before you start jumping into things, because your it's not directed in one particular way. It's moving in too many different places. So I don't want to be in debt if I don't need to be. So we did that, and then we started investing.
Okay, so go ahead.
So because you did that, this sound like, so we have to talk about this a little bit more, get a little deeper in this. So the generational patterns. So if you did that, what did you have to change in your mindset, the patterns that you learned to break those generational patterns to get to the point where you are now? Because that just wasn't an overnight thing.
It was not. It was almost like you have to rebrand your mind. And I know that sounds like, but just like Nike, when you see it and it gives you a certain feeling of quality or whatever brand names you have. And that's how I had to think. I am a child of God and my life should reflect that. I am made in his image and my life should reflect that. The kingdom of God is within. My life should reflect that. But not just in this book, but in my life. And I started understanding I do have that. I may not have started where I wanted to start. I had no control over that. But what am I going to do now? But now. And that's what I started focusing on, is the future versus what they did. Why are they holding me back? And those negative emotions can hold you captive, but they don't take you anywhere. It's like being a jail with no wheels. There's no motivation to move forward. You're just blaming and you're stagnant. I didn't want that because I saw what that did to generations of people. And I just did not want to accept that.
you know what, based on like the things that you've been through and how you completely turn your mindset, it almost sounds like a miracle from God. Because so many people get stuck in their mindset, and you had a big word that I hope the Lord let stay in my mind. You reauthored your life.
Can I share something with you guys? So my mother passed away in 2021, my father in 2010, my 39-year-old brother in 2011, and my oldest brother, he had a legal issue and he's gone away for a while. So it was only 5 of us. It was only 5 of us. And so I said, I got to do something different. And when I was going for a walk, talking with God, and that's when he revealed about the voice. And I asked him, why was I born in this family? To struggle financially, to struggle mentally and emotionally, and spiritually, calling out, looking for guidance when you didn't know what to do because they didn't know what to do. And he dropped in my spirit. I warned every one of them, but they didn't listen. But that's what gives you favor is when you do. So go teach people to listen to me because that's where your power is. And so when I started listening, it's so powerful and it's so transformational, but it's so simple, but it's can you do it?
That's the problem.
Yes.
And like what I would like for you to speak on,
Yes.
like if there's someone listening to us,
Whew.
you said that you turned your life around. Like if we have somebody listening right now and they're asking themselves, why in the world, God, did you put me in this family? Can you give them some encouraging words? Because you know how many people feel that way, they just don't even say it.
I know. And what I can say, you are the change in your family. You know how we're looking, why wasn't my mom? Why wasn't my father? You're that for your children. You're that for your coworkers or for your family or for whoever. You are the change. And a lot of times we're looking for someone else to be that, but God allowed us to get through that to give us the strength and the knowledge and the wisdom. This is how I navigated. Let me navigate this and let me go help you. Let me help you. See, the problem is we keep all this to ourselves and we think I'm on an island. And we're not. That's a lie. And we're afraid to share our stories because we think, what are people going to think? Because when you look at social media, you are looking at everybody's highlight reel. And you think, I need to go create this little false narrative, and I don't want anybody else to see me duct tape the inside of myself together behind closed doors. And the power is in being authentic. I'm so angry dealing with that. I overcame it. Let's talk. How did you do? Let me share what worked for me and going to get help. Stop trying to solve everything by yourself. It's almost a stigma in our community. If you go over there and get help, that means you're weak and sorry or crazy. And that's right. But that's what people have been doing for decades to get over our other communities to get through that generational trauma. But we're over here holding on to it saying, I'm going to pray it away when there's professionals that can help you actually, along with prayer, to deal with it in a physical sense, to deal with it in an emotional sense, to process it. And another thing I would add is actually dealing with the emotion. A lot of times we try to cover it up and say, I'm good. And and then something will happen. And then we just go there. We take all that stuff in the past and just go in. And you're thinking, I healed, I'm grown. No, you're not. That's still a real thing. What your mom or what your dad says, deal with your trauma and be honest with yourself. This hurts. Let me process this. It may be 30, 40, 50, 20 years old, but it's still there. Deal with it. Fix it. Go fix yourself. Your mom and dad didn't have the tools, but you do.
I'm like, so because she talked about that, like what you want to say? Just get it
go
on
ahead.
out.
Go ahead.
I'm like, because you it's so good and so impactful. I just pray and hope that the words that you're saying, that someone is listening, and that because they came from a seed, that they will decide for themselves that they're going to be the change. Like I give you my word, I never even thought about that for myself. But like instead of complaining about where you came from, fix yourself. You'll be the changed person and listen to that voice of the Holy Spirit. And so, because we talk about money all the time, our goal is to help people retire with dignity or even be able to do what you do, call your own shots. That you paid off $150,000 in debt. Can you tell us how you did that? Because somebody else needs to know.
Yes, the snowball method. We had quite a few student loans. We started out with a small debt, and then we just increased, and we did not spend any money. We were just like, this is what we're doing. The most important thing is getting on the same page with your spouse or partner and with yourself. Because a lot of people, they'll say, oh, this is what I want to do, but let me go. And then they sneak off. And it's like, no, you got to be disciplined and you got to be committed to your future self and sacrifice now so you can have it then, instead of looking at consumerism. And that's a mindset shift. Get out of being a consumer and be a producer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a slogan. Say that
yes.
again.
Get out of consumerism and be a producer. Because that's
So
what we're kings at, is being consumers, right? We always, I got to
Yes,
get the newest, best thing.
programmed.
And we are programmed. And we got to get out of that and think, how can I make this money multiply? That should be the mindset. How can I make my energy grow? If you look at it as energy, make it grow, plant your seed. What can I do? If I see this dollar, it's a seed. It is not just a piece of paper. It is a seed. It is energy. Let me go sow this where it's going to grow. It's not going to grow investing in $3,000 purse. It's not going to grow in a car that's a $600 car note. You're going from there to there and nothing has happened for you. But if you go invest in real estate and precious metals, land, things, maybe even AI, things that you know are coming or that are going to stay. That's what I would focus on, not a whole lot of crazy investing. If you want to get solid things, get things that you know people will always need, or something that appreciates or that will never lose value.
See, that's powerful, because when you're talking about planting a seed, that just reminds me of the talents, in the Bible, right? Where they talked about
Yes.
one received 10, one received 5, one received 1.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody multiplied except for the one that received 1. He just
That's
planted
right.
and buried it and didn't do anything with it, and then just bought it back like it was. So if you don't
Yes.
seed, then how can you expect for it to multiply if you just hold on to it?
That is good. You know what I want to add to that?
Please
Is
do.
if you think about it, he just had one. So even when God gives you something small, he still expects an increase.
Bam. Yes.
So it's a mindset shift. Even if I only earn this much, what can I do to flip it to make it grow? And when you think I'm going to stay the same, I'm going to bury it, all of that old mindset, you have to let that go. And when you don't, you're really cheating God, just like the talents, you were cheating God. He gave you a gift and you hid it from the world. So what are you going to do to multiply your gift and share it with the world? Your money's a gift. It is a gift, and it's to be grown and, matured. And when you get in purpose and your wealth grows, you can go work and do things in the kingdom. You can go work and expand. You can grow and help other people. It's not just about you.
There it is.
Okay, that was good. I'm gonna go back. That was good. Like, we doing this for our listeners, but this girl is blessing me right now. Listening, because your approach and some of the things you've saying haven't been said to us the way that you're saying it. So
Wow.
I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us and with our listeners too.
Yes.
And so we've also been programmed, which it is true. If you take out from your 401k early, we're going to get penalized, right? So when you decided to take money out of your 401k, did you have any fear? Like, can you encourage someone, like, they have their 401k, they really don't have no other liquid money? Should they or shouldn't they take money from their 401k?
Okay. The first thing I would do is, before you do anything, have a plan. That's the worst thing to do, is I'm going to take this money out and I don't know what to do. So where's that money going to go? And get advice. If you want to sit down with a professional, get some advice, do some research on your own. Don't just look at Google. Go out and do things that agree with that, things that are against that. Outside of just Google, go look at some publications and financial forecasts, things like that. But the fear aspect, I was afraid to keep it in there because I don't know what they're doing in the markets anyway. So I was like, one day it's this, one day they talk about it's a crash, one day they do. And I said, let me go put this money where I know it has value, because it fluctuates. The dollar's losing value anyway. So, and we can think that it's safe. And I'm not saying a 401k is not a safe investment, but I think the penalty didn't scare me, because I felt like, if I get an asset, what am I really losing?
Mm-hmm.
right? Because money's a note. It's not really like it's gold or silver, or it's
Mm-hmm.
not land. It's a piece of paper that really holds no value. So I
Mm-hmm.
can go exchange this paper for value, for actual value, because money to me is steadily depreciating in value because, the dollar compared to other money markets, it's decreasing. So that was just my mindset. Not anybody else needs to do that, but I just
Mm-hmm.
thought if it's losing value, but yet I can put it in this asset that's gaining value.
Mm-hmm.
So just have a plan. I wouldn't just do that. Maybe you can
Mm-hmm.
take a part of it out
Mm-hmm.
and, just plan with your your accountant, how that's
Mm-hmm.
going to look. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, I was more afraid to not because I saw people who were successful. So maybe before you do that too, get around other investors, join some groups and see
Mm-hmm.
how did that work for you. Some of them started out that way and became multimillionaires. Some people started out that way and they didn't invest in the best deal and they struggled. So you want to make sure if you're going to do that, do your homework, do your research, and put it where you know it's going to grow.
Okay,
I
and
like that.
yeah, that was
I like
smart.
that.
And then
Yeah,
I want to
I
dig a
like that.
little deeper too to make sure that I understand.
Hmm.
So, like when you took your 40,000 out and you invested it, I think I understood you to say, like when you're working, it got to be more to life than this. So you decided
Mm.
to take
Yes.
control of your life and your time
Yes.
and not have to go punch nobody clock.
That's it.
Yeah,
That is so, yes.
yeah,
Yes, let's talk
So,
about
yeah.
that.
so I was an insurance adjuster and I had a, 9 to 5, very stable job, had been doing that for 15 years. And in that time, just a quick backstory, a woman, I didn't pay her claim. She was threatening to kill herself because we didn't pay her claim because she flooded in the basement. So I had to talk her through that. And she ended up going to get help and she didn't kill herself. So I was thankful. And then I heard a baby being born. In a different claim, like literally being born and him saying, "Oh my God, it's ugly." So I said, you know what? It was funny and it was good while it lasted, but it felt so draining. And I knew, I said, I can't do this. It just felt like I was a chair being used as a TV stand. It didn't go. I
Hmm.
could do it, but it didn't go, right? It just didn't fit. So
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
I figured like God was just calling me. And like I said, from that situation where I didn't listen, I listened. And that's one thing we got to listen to our guts. We
Yeah.
got to stop being afraid. TV tells you, be afraid. Go, oh my gosh, go get some canned goods. Oh my gosh, be afraid. It's like everything is so fear. And you got to be like, God, what do you say? What are you
Mm-hmm.
telling me to do? Don't be afraid. Don't walk in fear. Who is that telling me this?
Mm-hmm.
Is this true? No, it's not. Let me go listen to God. Let me go get some wisdom from people who actually have some money
Yeah.
and
Come
talk to
on,
people who have
come
money
on, come on.
and see what they did.
Come on.
They weren't afraid and they aren't afraid. Stop. If you always feel afraid and scared to go step out from your job, you might need to get some new friends because
Mhm.
people who are driven and who are where you really ultimately want to be, that's who the circles that you need to get into because they're not afraid. They're watching you work while they're at home or going on vacation and you're sitting up there afraid. They're
Mhm.
wondering when they're going to go to Italy again.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so like right now, you your own boss and you and your husband have purchased multifamily homes.
We've invested as passive investors. We have.
And so you
Yeah.
don't have
Yes.
to put by the clock tomorrow.
Mm-mm.
See, see.
Not at all. Not at all. And I love it. It's so free. It's
Mm,
so free to break out of that financial prison.
mm.
We just got to
Girl.
educate ourselves.
Mm,
We have to educate ourselves. God doesn't want us feeling like that.
mm,
We're not supposed to live like that. Now use that as a stepping stone. Use your job where you are. If that's not what you want to do, let it be a stepping stone to where you're going. And so let me just say this. What I did at my old job, that's what allowed us to pay off debt sooner. That's what positioned us for things. So use that, leverage them like they're using you, leverage them to help you. Use them too to get where you want to be. Don't just quit cold turkey. If you be strategic in everything you do, be intentional in everything that you do.
that's powerful.
It
So,
is.
because it reminds me of one of our friends, Richie. Change the way you pay, change your
Mhm.
life,
That's
right?
right.
And so I think that ties in perfect with this right here because you took control of the situation.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now You enjoying life.
Yeah, and I'm
Yes.
like, how long have you been not punching somebody's clock?
It has been a year and a half. A year and a
Wonderful.
half. Yes.
And it's freeing, and you would not want to go back.
Mm-mm. I would rather build my own than do anything for anybody else. And not to say when you work for someone, it's all about mindset because some people really love that. So I don't want to talk down on what they do. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, I needed freedom. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where I can be creative and that's where I can use my gifts. Some people flourish in a corporate environment. I just didn't. So I feel like I can be in purpose and do things where I can help other people because I couldn't do that sitting at my desk for 9 hours talking on the phone and getting cussed out.
Come
I
on.
would not laugh. Girl, it's
Come on.
true. It's
It's
true.
so true. Yes.
And I like that you said that you were strategic. Like,
Yes.
don't go out tonight and just don't show up at work tomorrow.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No.
you may not have no electricity. They may come
Right.
and take your car away. So if it's
Yes.
something you want to do, and I never thought about it, the same way they're using you, boo, you use them.
Yes, leverage that. Leverage your job to pay off debt. Before you leave, try to get yourself in the best financial situation so you do have freedom of choice. A lot of reason people don't is because they have a mountain of debt. I'm sorry, there's a fly. They have a mountain of debt. They have a mountain of debt, but they don't have any money to invest or do anything with. And so they're really living paycheck to paycheck. So
Mm.
get that straight first and then go look at investing. And when you are strategic, it's like everything starts aligning for you to truly do the things that you want to do.
So and you keep and I have to touch on this, but you keep mentioning being debt free. Could you talk about that a little bit in the freedom about being debt free? Could you talk about that?
Yes, it makes me want to turn cartwheels every day. That's what I'm just playing.
No,
Every
that's
day I
it.
feel like,
Because you got
That's real.
freedom.
That's real.
yes, it feels so good to just know I don't have anybody I have to worry about calling. I don't have anything I got to pay. Because as soon as there's a debt, I'm like, what do we need to do to get rid of this as soon as possible? See, a lot of times we just, and we kick the can down the road. And then you look up that the interest is multiplied and you're sitting
Mhm.
up here and you could have paid it off in the same month, but now you've been paying these little bitty baby payments and you're paying it for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's how things can work. Or even if you could pay it off in 2, 3 months, the interest is tacked on and now you're stuck in debt. Now goes the collections. Now your credit is bad. And I'm like, no, you don't need to go out to eat. Use that money. You don't need that, purse or shoes or whatever you're getting, because you know it ain't gonna do nothing for you anyway. Ain't nobody looking at you. Ain't nobody worried about that. I mean, really, nobody really cares. And if they do, then they shouldn't. Because
Mm.
that's not helping you build wealth. If anything, if you're gonna buy those purses, go invest in the stock market in that company too. Do something where you're getting it makes sense to invest. Don't just
Mm.
invest in, like, we got some stock in Nike. My husband just bought that. He's like, if I'm
Mm.
gonna keep buying these products, let me get some Apple stock. Let me get some Nike stock. Let
Mhm.
me do that instead of just spending money and there's no benefit.
Right.
So I would just say overall, it's all about discipline. But first of all, knowing I'm worthy of being debt free. I'm worthy of all of these financial goals. A lot of times there are no role models for us to see. There's either,
There it is.
sometimes we're looking at poverty or a little, there's some well-to-do middle class people, or it's Oprah. And it's like, that's a big difference. There are, you know what I mean? And so we're thinking, I got to make money like that to be free. And it's like, that's not true. That's what you see on TV. You
Mm-hmm.
can be debt free, have a career where you earn 60, 70, 80,000 a year, 100,000, and be fine if you don't have debt. You don't have to be a billionaire or even a multimillionaire to be free financially. You just got to be smart.
So you mentioned something too. I'm sorry,
No,
honey,
go
but you
ahead.
mentioned something too about not seeing that when you were growing up, right?
Mm,
Seeing like people that's wealthy or seeing people that's well off
mhm.
or financially free. So how, if you're not seeing that when you grow up, how do you go about changing your mindset to kind of say, you know what, I didn't see that, but I know where I want to be, but I didn't see it. How do I get there?
Well, when I was growing up, I was a cheerleader. So I saw other girls be like, I'm going to home. And, they were like, and you'd go to their house, you'd be like, oh, and their parents or their mom was like a stay-at-home mom. You're like, well, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about this. So really what I realized is when I moved from the environment that I was in, that's what allowed me to be exposed to new things. The reason that we don't know better is because we don't see anything different. So if you are seeing a lack and limitation and a ceiling, then you need to move into a new environment. You need to be surrounded by new people that will stretch you and stop being afraid, because oftentimes we keep ourselves in our own box because we're afraid. When opportunities have presented themselves to do something different, we just don't want to. I'm just scared, I'm comfortable. And I went out and said, no, I want something better.
That's a good way to do it. And so I'm like, maybe we might have a married couple here. And so I think your light bulb moment, now you correct me, is that you needed a change was the environment that you were in, the calls you had to deal with. Okay, you have a spouse. How would you recommend for a woman to go and approach her spouse, or even a husband, to go approach his spouse and say, I can't do this anymore, because $150,000, that's a lot of money.
It is.
So how did you go about approaching that with your spouse? And how long did it take you to pay $150,000 off?
I approached him with a plan, because he was like, we need to pay off those student loans. Like, I know you want to do all that, but I didn't make you go to school and take it. I said, no, you're right. So there was like credit card debt, student loans. And so I came to him with a plan of the Snowball plan. And he was like, that makes sense as long as we can get that done. And we were strategic and intentional. And so it literally took about 2.5, 3 years to pay off 150 is what we did. Just very, very aggressive.
Right. And then you know what that takes? Perseverance and patience. And if you don't make it in your mind that you're going to sacrifice for these 2 to 3 years, you're not going to last. You won't be able to pay off your debt, because you can get in debt in a few seconds.
Yes.
It sure take more than a few seconds to get out of it.
Yes, that is so true. He created a budget. So when I told him about the plan, he's like, okay, because he's more of an analytical guy. So he said, let's come up with a family budget. And it was like, let's go. So we stuck with that. We gave each other an allowance, and that's all we stuck with. You couldn't spend any more than that. And then we had an allotment of what we could do per month on this, and that, and we stuck to it. So it just worked. It's all about communication. Do you have the same goal financially that I do? Yes, which is really something you should try to discuss before you get married. But a lot of us don't come into this understanding until we get married. But if you can get your spouse and say, I want to be financially free. I want to give our children something, not just, starting from scratch every generation. It just, for what? So getting on the same page, communicating, and coming up with a plan, not just doing stuff and things. That's what I said. That really helped.
Yeah. And I'm like, you definitely had patience, because you still had to keep listening to them phone calls.
I did.
For them
crying. Yes, I cried. I was like, ooh, I'd clock in at 7 o'clock, and 7:01, I was looking at my watch like, look, please, but I did it crying, whatever. I was like, I'd rather sacrifice and be debt free than be somewhere and be in debt for years and years and years to come. It just wasn't something I was willing to do.
I don't blame you. And so we might have some young listeners listening. Can you tell them what the Snowball method is?
Yes, it's where you start off with your lowest debt, and then you increase it, and you start out and you pay off completely. You make payments on the lowest debt, and then on the other ones that may be higher, you make the least amount of payment that you can make. And then you get that small debt paid off, and you move to the next one, and then you follow until all of your debt is paid off. You keep going. And so it was really a very easy way to kind of pay off debt quickly.
Okay. You got a burning question?
I mean, I do have one, because I noticed something, and I know I need to.
Yeah, we don't want to invade her time, but I got one more burning one too.
Okay, so one of the things, one of your quotes, you said, you cannot control the seed you come from, but you can control the fruit you produce. Could you discuss that, please, and kind of just expound on that?
Yes. Well, just like I was saying earlier, I questioned why I was born into that family. And I had to take the seed, and I will say what God had given me, and stop watering weed. I had to take that seed instead and go plant it in some fertile soil, which is a renewed mindset, which is a goal, a plan, discipline, and commitment. And I had to realize I am worthy. And that's what a lot of us don't think about. We can go and say we have faith and we can do all the things, but ultimately, do you really believe that you are worth that? Can you really see yourself receiving what you're praying for, or what you're asking for, or your goal? Do you really see it? And do you think you deserve it? And so that is one of the mindset shifts that I received of taking that seed. And I said, yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go build. Let me go do something different. Look what my mom went through. God is showing me that's a warning. This is what it is if you don't plan. This is what it looks like if you just stick with being uneducated and just going along and the fear based, the debt method. I thought, let me go do something different. And that's where the debt method. That was the debt method for sure.
Oh goodness!
Yeah, go ahead.
I like that word.
I do
the
too.
Debt method. Shoot, I'm about to write down some of your nuggets.
Spin.
Yeah, and so we'll I if I let you go, but I ask you this question, you know how to be bugging you later.
Yeah.
So you mentioned student loan debt, and I know that you know that currently the student loan debt is a national crisis for the U.S. You got your student loan, you got your degree, but yet you had a job that you were absolutely miserable in. Can you offer, and then the American dream, the way we have been programmed, you go to school, you get good grades, you graduate from high school, you're automatically expected, you go to college, whether you or whether you got to borrow the money. And you know, you do that, you go get this dream job. So being with all that you've been through, you're also a certified life coach. You give some recommendations to people who have student loans or may be entertaining the idea of getting a student loan.
Okay, if they're looking at student loan, I would say, what is the most inexpensive way that you can achieve the same thing? You can look at junior colleges. You can look at doing work study programs. You can look to see what grants you can qualify, focusing on getting scholarships. Because I know, well, let me back up before I say that. Make sure you get a career that has growth, that you love, and that you're not just getting a degree just to be doing something. Because I think that's what we were taught. It's don't focus on doing something that you actually have talent to do or that you love. Just go do what you're supposed to do. And that's when you really kind of feel like you're at that ceiling and you're in debt and you're trying to pay all this stuff off and you don't even like what you do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like before you get a student loan, or if you're still in there and you're taking on student loans, do a quick inventory. If I were to do this job, would I be willing to do it for free because I love it? Right? And so look into other things that you can do. Like I said, the scholarships and all of that. Find the least expensive route to get where you want to go because, like you said, it is programmed. It is. It's like you getting all this debt and you work all these years to pay off all this debt and then you pass away. It's like that is not what God had intended for us. And it's like we have to re-educate ourselves. We have to find out, does my career aspirations align with my purpose? Does it align with my talent? And is this something I'm willing to do for free? If not, I need to take a look at what I really, really want to do, not what mom told me to do, not what dad told me to do. Could I learn a trade? You know, we think that you only can go to school. What about being an electrician, a plumber? They make a whole lot of money. You know, what if you can do something in real estate or all these different professions where you don't necessarily need a degree? So, and you can earn more money that way than you do, you know, taking on 40, 50, $60,000 in debt. So education of yourself outside of the school, start learning to self-educate and research because we can research what Beyonce wore to the Grammys, right?
Can't we? Can't we?
Or what Kanye said or what Trump said, but you don't know what you're doing when it comes to your education. You don't know what your purpose is. You don't even know where can I find some money? What is the least expensive way to get through this? Start learning who you are, what you're supposed to do, what your purpose is, and what is the best financial decision you can make for you.
I'm glad I asked you that question. I am. Okay.
So you know, if you had to give yourself when you was younger some advice, what would just a couple of nuggets for the viewer? What would that be?
I would have listened to the voice much, much sooner than I did. That's what I would say. If you feel a calling and a guiding, like you feel like you're being guided towards something in particular, something saying, don't do that or to go do that, listen to it. there's a reason that you're being guided that way. And I think a lot of times we'll say, how did I end up in this situation? I'm so angry. Nobody told you to go do that. Taking accountability for the choices that you make, but stopping before you do it and making sure it aligns. So what I would say, what is your mission statement for your life? What is your purpose? And everything that you do should align with that. If it does not, that's relationships, that's your money habits, that is your health, your mental, your spirituality. If what you're doing and partaking in does not align with what you structured your life and your focus to be, then you need to stop and do something else. Make a different choice. That's the beauty. You have the ability to choose your own adventure. Make wise choices. Listen to your gut and be guided by God. And there's so much power in that.
Love it. Love it.
Well, she done shut me down with that. But before we let you go, can you tell the listeners the name of your book again, where they can find it, and then if someone wants to hire you to be their life coach, how they can connect with you?
Sure. I have The Voice is actually coming out on January 7th, so that hasn't come out yet. And the other book is on Amazon, The 6 Steps to Discovering Your Purpose. And if they want to work with me, they can go to MishawnChilders.com. That's where I do set up the services and everything else. And let me tell your listeners this. You are worthy. You are worthy. Stop being defined by what you see in social media, what you see on TV, what the history books show you, what your grandmama did, and what so-and-so, how they define you, what your teacher said that you couldn't do this or that. Stop being defined by things that are external. Do some internal work and reauthor your life.
Powerful. Well, we want to thank you, Sean, for joining us today on Bartelle's Money Talk.
From the bottom of our hearts.
From the bottom,
yeah. Thank you, guys.
This has been a great conversation. So, viewers, we recommend that you really connect with Mishawn, and because she's great. She's absolutely.
Thank you.
And so if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you on Bartelle's Money Talk. Thank you.